Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Thrive, Not Just Survive. I'm your host, Nasira Jamal, and I hope and pray that you're all having a wonderful start to this beautiful Wednesday. Today, I am so thrilled to have this guest on. She actually, as I've been kind of looking at what she does and who she is, and it's inspiring to see entrepreneurs showing up and finding a way to serve their tribes, to understand the needs of others based on their own story and their own transformation that has happened. So I want to bring Kathy on because I think this story is going to really inspire you. And what we're going to talk about is really the journey of entrepreneurship. So let's bring her on and get this conversation started. Hey, Kathy, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So before we really dive in, because I love what your story is, and I love the fact that you're showing up, from all your learnings. Can you tell us a little bit about your life, how you ended up doing what you're doing now?
For sure. It's hard to know where to start because you think of like going way back. But for me, what came up to my mind just now was I just remember being a teenager and having my heart focused on I'm going to FIT, the Fashion Institute in New York City, like nothing stopping me. I got on the train, I took undergrad courses, and I ended up going there, only college I applied to. So when I think that far back, I've always been like, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to go get it. And kind of, it doesn't just happen like overnight. There's kind of been steps that take you there. So that's just like the first memory that pops in my head. But really changed my life is I studied abroad in college. And I went to Florence, Italy, and had an amazing semester and got the travel bug and kind of never looked back. Came back to New York City. I tried to climb the corporate ladder because that's what we grew up being told. And, my dad did it. And I just thought, this is it. That's what you do. And just deep down inside me, it never felt right. I did it for a couple of years and got let go from a bunch of jobs. I mean, the universe was really telling me something, obviously. Yeah. To a point where, I was in bed every day. I was unemployed. And I remembered like an old neighbor in Italy who did their master's. And that really definitely changed my life. Got the idea 3 weeks later, which is crazy. I got my visa, everything, moved to Italy. I thought it would be 1 year master's program. And I was away for 6 years. It was amazing. So something that was just like, hey, how do I get back there? Like, the easiest to me was like, let me just go do my master's, which I met the most amazing people there. And through those connections, I stayed in Italy another 4 years and eventually meeting more people. I backpacked Southeast Asia. I moved to Australia and started over many times. It's super hard. It's not as glamorous as it looks. But that's where another big life-changing moment came in, where I lost my dad. I got the phone call in Australia where my mom was just like, you need to get home. It took days to get home. And obviously for anyone who's been through that, lost someone close to them, that 100% changed my life. So I went from this travel lifestyle, making decisions for myself 24/7, to, move home. Do I get to go back to Australia? Do I help my mom? Just so many other choices. Your life just gets flipped upside down. And I've been back in New York for 5 years. So clearly my choice was to stay here. And that's kind of part of my current journey, just kind of finding myself again after losing my dad, new career path. I was living on Long Island at 30 with my mother. It's not exactly something you picture yourself doing. I wanted to be in Australia for the year and then go to New Zealand for my work holiday visas. So, I'm definitely have worked through that. But, when you have a certain plan, I just felt like everything got turned upside down. But I made a choice after a couple of years. I saved a bunch of money. I've now moved to Brooklyn. I met my boyfriend and got dogs and just kind of reset up that life that I used to have before.
And that's so amazing. I just want to stop you there. Like the way you're, when you're going through this story of initially like, you're traveling and it's like this glamorous life, but it's not so much the glamour, it's the fact that you're learning through the process of what's going on by even going from country to country, different people, different cultures. And then, as you mentioned, a death in the family turns things upside down. But it's almost that these adversities that we go through really polish us as to what the path is, where we're being led to. It's a tough journey. I mean, I've also lost my dad, and I know what that feels like. Life turns upside down, but in it are blessings where it's leading us to where we need to be, who we need to be, and for the tribes we're showing up for. So I'm so thrilled that you've brought this up, even though it's a very tender spot, I'm sure, in your heart. You know, talking about such vulnerabilities is a difficult thing, but you're doing it with so much grace, and that there's so much learning and wisdom in that for others, you know, because sometimes people may feel like everything is shattering around them with COVID-19 and all the things that are going on, right? So thank you for showing up and sharing that, because I think that's being authentic and being really true to who you are and in your journey. So I'll let you continue, but I just wanted to acknowledge that because I thought that was a very important piece of your story.
No, 100%. I mean, it's definitely, if you look at your whole life, I mean, a death like that. And I've had other obviously close to me, but there's nothing like, you know, a parent. And that was hard, but it ultimately brought me home. You know, I'm sure like my mom needed me, my family. It helps you reevaluate things. I always missed them when I was away, of course, but it's just, you know, it's different to be home. I have tons of nieces and nephews. I found my boyfriend, things like that. So, and he always wanted me to be home. He was 100% Sicilian man who's like, you know, you should be like next door to me. And, you know, that's it. So every time I traveled, he was just like, you know, what's wrong with you? He was happy for me, but just such different mindsets. So, you know, in his own way, I know it's strange. He did bring me back home for where I was meant to be. But that's another part of it. I don't know if you felt like this, that there's kind of always what felt like Kathy before the death and Kathy after. And it's not like your whole personality changes. It's just life is just completely different. I don't know a better way to explain it. Like I was in Australia on my last day, bike riding around this island with my friend. And so when I see that photo, it just feels like, oh, like that was Kathy. You know, I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining it well enough.
Yeah. No, I think it changes us, right? In terms of, we look at life differently when we've had trauma like that, you know, when there's especially of a parent, it's a traumatic experience, right? So I think it does change us as to how we look at life. It's not so much from that perspective initially when we had sort of our parents and everything was going on and we were just doing what we wanted to do. So I think that's another really important thing. But what you actually just said was it's a whole mindset thing. And I want to just sort of elaborate on that, because all of the things that we get to do and be and whatever we're doing is really starting out at a mindset level, right? Of whether we can or we cannot is what we believe, right? Everything is possible, and yet nothing is possible depending how you think about it.
Right. Yeah. We're dealt the cards we're given. It's what are you going to do with it? I mean, I didn't lay around for that first 6 months. Like, yeah, you're incredibly numb, but I focused on my mom, and then it was like, okay, well, what are you going to do now? And then I listed things that I wanted and I didn't want. And then I made that next choice for what job, where to live, you know, the basics of life, basically. Right. And, that led me to where I am today too. I mean, I was a nanny for 3 years. I just loved all the kids I worked for, and worked at a really nice store and just made a lot of connections like that. And eventually was able to get back to Brooklyn, and I did events, which I recently, like probably, you know, 75% of the world has been let go because there probably won't be events for a very long time. But again, of course it hurts at first because you give your heart to your jobs, at least I do. And so that hurts in the moment. You're going to miss certain people and everything, but I still trusted in the journey. And I'd already started the coaching business about maybe only a month before, which, you know, you can get mad at yourself. I should have been doing it for like years. I've had my website for 6 years, but didn't really use it in one way or another. It was just close to my heart, the title of it, and it was from a travel story. So that was just something, you know, the shoulds where you're like kind of shame yourself. But either way, I started and I took my own coaching program, which is a bit more focused on the marketing side and setting up your business, not as much of like how to coach. And that was super helpful just for the accountability and to have you show up to be visible, to be seen, to be heard. That was a huge thing for me. And to accomplish that in like, I think the first month or so of a 3-month program, where I was like, there's no way I'm going to do that. To see how much it helps by just having someone on your side and actually putting in the work and showing up every day was like, it was just amazing. Like seeing how coaching works, you have to do that to be able to be a coach. I feel like you have to be coached to be a coach.
Yes. And you know what? We brought this up yesterday at the interview too, that for coaching, and there's such a big thing about accountability. And when you have somebody guiding you through it and being there with you, you get far more done, because if you were able to do it by yourself, it would have already happened. And if there's people, you know, like listening to us or watching on replay, the idea of getting a coach is to get you to do the next level, next thing where you want to get to. And when you have that partner with you, it's like you're collaborating together to get you there. And the fruit of that labor is so sweet, because now you're at the other side of it and you're saying, I can't believe how much that helped, right? To get you where you needed to be. And so coaching is really important. Every coach needs a coach. I'm a coach and I need a coach, right? And you're a coach, you have a coach, because they are just that much ahead of us and we need that guidance. And so for me, the big thing I want to talk about is, now that you are, you know, sort of, you've kind of determined that this is it, like you want to be helping others. And can you tell us a little bit about, I know I want to talk about your new website. It's coming up. I'm so excited because there's a whole new branding going on for you with different things that you're putting in there, which I'm very excited to see. But can you tell us a little bit about this coaching journey of what you wish to accomplish for your clients?
100%. It's definitely similar to my journey, how I was just saying that I was let go. I had a lot of freedom at that job and I still wanted more because I remembered my old lifestyle where I just would like wake up and be like, okay, so what am I doing today? And still felt like I had a great purpose. At this stage of my life, I just knew I wanted to do more and serve others. And when I think about that time in my life and how happy I was just like thanking my parents. And I want that for other people. I want them to have that feeling. It's definitely based around freedom, which is pretty general, but it's an important thing. You can break it down into financial freedom, time freedom, personal freedom, and location freedom. So there's a lot of them. Some people want all of them. Some just need one to get to the other, you know, whatever that may be, but that's my focus. And I was noticing it in myself, where as great as it was at my old job, it was like, I need more. And that was part of me wanting to go into coaching for the freedom and to serve others. And it's kind of just, you know, for women that they feel very inspired to do something and they're ready to invest in themselves.
Yes.
So I know it comes off pretty general, but I think that speaks to a lot of women. There's so many different situations where that comes up in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what happens when you do something like that is that when you work with a coach, you get this place to become more clear of what that means. Sometimes what happens is women, especially, you know, they've got so many other things that they're tied to and nurtures as being nurturers, and they're doing a lot of things for others. They don't really even know who they are or what they really want for themselves. And so this whole idea of finding what freedom means to them, to get that clarity, is one of the biggest steps of awareness, right? Wouldn't you say that that's what's going to lead them to where they really want to go? Is you got to have a map for that.
100%. Yeah, the roadmap to freedom, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be like, it ranges. I've been able to help people who it's just like a 9-to-5 situation. Like, can I leave that life? Do I want that? It can be, you know, some moms that are home that they absolutely love being a mother, but they want to do something more. Just someone who already enjoys their life, but is like, why don't I travel enough? Why don't I make those plans? Why am I not incorporating, like, you know, free time, fun time in their lives? Even, you know, some families who their kids have now, you know, graduated or moved out of the house and they have a lot more time and they want to do something with that. It's just, it really can range, you know, to the different people. Or like one of my favorite ones is, I want to travel and I don't know how. Like, I don't know where to begin. I don't know how to do it. Oh, I need money. And then, you know, the top 10 reasons and excuses why people don't take action kind of arise. And again, it could be for anything, but it's definitely sometimes you just don't know where to start. And, you know, you need some guidance. You need to find that clarity. You need to set your intentions. You need to show up every day for it.
And I love that you said it's about taking action. Like, it's sometimes people get paralyzed just by the fear of not knowing or not moving forward or don't know where to begin, right? That fear really paralyzes somebody. But if you had the steps to take the action, and little bits at a time, you begin to transform into that place where you, sort of can envision, but you don't know how to get there, right? So I think what you're helping people do in terms of finding that clarity, and even, to the point where some people may even feel like, especially if they were looking at the travel aspect of things, of, I don't even know where to begin. If they've been home with their kids, they've been committed to that journey, and now they're all grown up and maybe moved out, they don't even know where to begin. That life has changed out there. Travel and all of the things there regarding travel has changed, right? So it really becomes a point of where you can have somebody that can guide you through it and makes it simpler.
Yeah, and it's, everyone thinks it's a lot more difficult. I don't know if it's, like hitting the easy button and being like, oh, I don't have the money or I don't have the time. Those are the easy excuses. If you dig a little deeper, you can really find out why. Or you might find out, is it even travel I want? Maybe I just think I want travel. It might not even be that. Like, you don't even know the reasons why you want to do something sometimes. Right. So, it's discovering that too. And with the money thing, there just happens to be another little side thing I love to do. Luckily, my dad was in finance, so he just didn't know how to do it. He was a great teacher, and that was amazing to grow up with. That I've yet to probably meet a friend or, people in my life that kind of know about finance. Like, we can all make money. We can all find a way to make money. People don't know how to use money more often than not. Right. So going into that, I don't know if people have heard of like the Points Guy. He's built like a really great website and he's pretty well known. I feel like a bit like the female version. I don't have a website regarding, what's the best credit card and everything, but I have, gone to Europe 6 times, paying $5 round trip each time. Like, so it's not as complicated as people feel. So I feel on that aspect where money does come up, and not just for travel. I know a lot of different tips where it doesn't feel like you're holding back and you're still living your life and you're able to save or reach whatever goal or kind of still do what you want to do and not think, oh, I have to make 100K. I have to make, these mindset things.
Right. And so, I think that's the other side of it, right? Like sometimes people may have a certain mindset around it, which is really maybe not even true, or it's a limiting belief, right? Where they believe that, but that's not really how things are, or how you can change perspective. Because what you look at, if you change how you look at things, things begin to change, right? So it's about looking at things differently and finding ways, if you really want something, finding the steps that it needs to take, that you need to take to get there. And for you, you've done a lot of things which people may think, wow, like that's amazing, right? To be able to travel and go across the globe and do different things. But all of the learning that came out of that is where I believe you can really help somebody, right? Because they don't have to go through those struggles that you went through, but you're bringing what you've learned to them right away so that they can start doing what they want to do.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Like I believe in coaching wholeheartedly, and I think different people bring different strengths and geniuses to another person's life where they need help in.
Yeah, it's really helped me relate better to people. Like I'm a Pisces. I don't know. I feel like, you're the combo of all the signs, and I've always been very empathetic or just understanding, trying to see both sides, like devil's advocate kind of thing. And I think travel has just only helped more where, like just my family's like, oh, you don't have air conditioning right now? I'm like, do you know how many countries I've been in without air conditioning? Like, this is like I don't know. I know I'm all over the place. It's it just teaches you like really what to be grateful for. And it's like these small little things that I don't even think about. It's more about the connections, the people you meet, the locals, the culture. It's just taught me so much. For example, I did this trip, like when I was in Asia, one of the countries we went to was Cambodia, and we kept wanting to be like, oh, we're going to volunteer all the time. And we did a little more partying than volunteering. But when we finally did one, it was this like 5-day, we raised our own money because of course there's just so many scams out there. And this program was amazing. You raise your own money, you get the materials, you get a builder, and you build a house for a family. And it lasts, they said, at least 3 generations. So it was just the most incredible experience. Everyone couldn't have been kinder, the family, the community. And what I really took away from it, though, was all the kids. It was 8 children for this home. And they would just find the little scraps of wood or just little pieces and be like, vroom, vroom. And play and just want to play with us. And it was amazing. And I'm like, we're all the same. Yeah. And that was just, you know, in a 6-month time, that probably 20 minutes was just, I'll always remember it and know that, you know, those moments in travel teach you that, you know, the good and the bad. There's a lot of bad stories, but they're always funny eventually.
And I think that's the key, right? The experiences, when you kind of put yourself out there, different cultures, different countries, different people, you learn so much more, especially about gratitude, about being grateful for the things that you had growing up, the things you already have, the mindset that you have, even that much, right? Where it really goes a long ways when you're able to kind of study it in contrast of what other people don't have, right? Especially when you talk about a child that, you know, takes a little scrap of whatever and is happy and is doing whatever a little kid would do, right? Is imagine. And so
we did the same thing.
Right, right. And these are experiences that would last you forever. And it makes you who you are in terms of showing up for others and being compassionate, having the empathy. I think emotional intelligence is such an important aspect. I mean, especially now with the way the life of the globe and the state of the world is in, right? We need more people to have empathy and realize other people's journeys are difficult from their own perspectives. But I think it's such an amazing thing that you can bring that understanding from another place, right? Where you've been. So I think that's brilliant. Now, can you tell us sort of what's coming up for you? Can you talk a little bit about next few things, what's going on?
Yes. Like we mentioned with the website, I'm excited. The coaching program I was awesome. And I made so much progress. But as everyone knows, everyone's going through their struggles with COVID, and going in kind of as a new coach and being like, okay, what's your message? What's your audience? All the good things in entrepreneurship. I didn't know. It took a few months to figure it out. And I kept kind of going away from the travel and the freedom because we didn't currently have very much freedom and could not travel. So understandably, I was kind of steered away from it. So around the same time of my program ending, I decided to get a copywriter because it's not exactly my strong suit. It gets better as we practice. And that was the best thing I've ever done. After a 1-hour phone call with her and a few weeks now of working on this, to have my new website come out and have my messaging just be so much clearer and focused, I believe people understand it better, and I'll be finally able to help people a little bit more. But that's been kind of the journey. I've been at very much, square one of setting up a business where you wear all hats, and, not all of them are your strength, and you're figuring out what to prioritize or who to actually get the help from and things like that. So that's been where I've been since about the beginning of the year. And I'm really excited that it feels like my website should be launching in the next few days. I'm just tweaking a few little things that's kind of going to be like the true start of everything. And I'm excited for that. And I have had some clients, and I kind of notice now when I talk to friends, they're like, oh, Kathy, the life design coach. And I'm like, no, like not all the time. It's still me. It's always been me, I haven't really like changed much more in my conversation. But I'm just excited where it just feels right. It feels complete, owning my message and, kind of moving forward that way and being able to say, hey, here's my website and start posting it.
And it's amazing, right? Because we all have to start somewhere. Sometimes what happens is people see the end result of a coach and say, oh my God, like, she's done all this and it's been amazing. And there's all these clients and everything's working really well. But there was a starting point. And I really want to highlight this, that we all have to start from ground zero, basically, figuring it out of what we're wanting to do, who we're wanting to serve, how are we going to show up, and then having that message being very, very clear. And so as you begin, and I love that fact that, you're an entrepreneur, you're beginning, you're taking this journey on with an open mind and an open heart, and you're allowing the people to come towards you that will help you. And some of your strengths that you have, and then others, you have to hire people, whether it's a copywriter or a website designer or whatever it is. There are strengths that are ours, and then there's some things that we have to understand that it isn't our best use of time, even though maybe you could figure it out, maybe. But I think as an entrepreneur, it's really important to sort of highlight that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to go out and say, you know what, I need this portion to be done by an expert. And so as you are doing this journey and being so authentic with saying, I'm a brand new entrepreneur, but I've learned a lot and I am learning and I am like finally getting this, excitement going where now that this is what I'm meant to do, I think is such a gift. So for that, congratulations. I think
Thank you. Yeah,
yes.
I mean, it's exciting. I mean, if anything I've taken away, it's just do the next thing. You don't always know if it's the right one or, like I said, prioritizing things, but just do the next thing. You never know. But it's been a great experience, and I'm really excited.
It's awesome. So I put up your website. I know if anybody wants to kind of go and check it out, yes, you're rebranding and stuff. There may be a different look, but to connect with you, would it be okay to contact you there, or do you prefer Facebook?
100%. My email is on there. Also, they can find my Facebook group through there. But yeah, I have a Facebook group. It's Design Your Life Bootcamp that I'm building just to kind of create a community of like-minded women and, just start from there and have just great engagement and collaborate and work together. So that's been going well. And also, to be very honest, with this rebranding and focusing so much on that, it's been hard to show up. When you're focusing so much on something else, it's hard to, be there every day and be like, hey, like this is what's going on, when it's just like, no, I've been focusing on my website and, everything else. So remember that there's going to be ebbs and flows and goods and bads. Like I was having a great 3 weeks. I just couldn't also be there for my group lately. Right. So, in the moment you're like, oh no, and then you're like, no, this is just part of the journey. It makes sense. This is what I need to do right now. And when I'm ready and my messaging is more clear, I can be there every day and, support everybody. Yeah. So that's been another
process, right? Like it's a process. And I think we have to have grace with ourselves. If we're going to have grace with our clients, we must first show up with grace for ourselves. I'm a high believer in that. Like you can't be something to others if you're not doing that for yourself. And so I think for you to even say, there's going to be ebbs and flows. There's going to be things that's part of the journey. That's part of life, right? It's not about being perfect and being everywhere at all times, being this person that people think you are or need you to be. It's about saying, you know what, I'm focused on here. I am doing what I want to do and show up, but things are going to be, it's a process. It's just a journey. Yeah. I think it's about being true to that, saying it's not about, rushing to do everything for everybody and then depleting yourself of the energy that you need to grow. So thank you for that. I think that's amazing. And so I look forward to, I'm part of your group. So
I know.
to see the growth and the things that you're coming out with, and the fact that, once it's all up and running, I'd love to invite you back so that we can talk a little bit more in depth of the different programs that you have that really can help people, the women that you want to help. I want to be able to give you the platform to be able to share. So is there any parting words that you can share with us before we close this show off?
I mean, it was just great to be here and kind of chat and have people learn my story a little bit. And I just really, really hope to inspire people to travel more. I understand it's a strange time right now. We can't go many places, but you can take a road trip. But, there's always a way to discover new things. And there's many ways to get freedom. But I just think you learn the most about yourself and others through travels and challenges and different experiences. And I'm definitely focused on that. Just fun little thing. I recently fostered puppies again, and I learned so much about myself in the past 2 weeks, where I've done it before for, months at a time, but it was about 4 years ago. And now I have 2 dogs. But yes, that was an interesting experience. So sometimes there are other ways to also learn about yourself, but just doing something new each day, breaking that routine, challenging yourself and, showing up and kind of keeping yourself accountable, because we can all just kind of float through life and time goes by. But, if you take that time, be grateful, show up, and, think about those things every day, you can make those changes. So definitely through travel, but so many other things. Yeah.
And I love that you said that, right? Do something different, do something new, have those experiences and take some action. And I think that's the key to allowing those experiences to come and make us realize the different things, gifts that we have that perhaps are dormant and we haven't just tapped into them. So I think that's a really good way of exploring, right? It's self-exploration. And I think it's a great journey to take. With COVID-19, I think we've all had to sort of look within and figure stuff out of, who we are and what we're doing here and why this is all going on. So thank you for sharing your light with me. I'm so privileged to have met you.
Thank you so much. It's happy to be here.
We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye. So that was an inspiring story. I hope you felt the authenticity and the journey Kathy has taken on. And I really want to walk away today with just one piece of nugget that she mentioned at the end was try something new. Do you know, sometimes we all get into this robotic movement of just kind of staying with our own habitual ways and just sort of living within our boundaries. And I think her message for what I want you to take out of all of the beautiful things that she did talk about is do something different. Figure out something that really inspires you that perhaps you haven't tried. And maybe you're afraid, but just try something new and allow yourself to explore some of the gifts that you already know that are within you that just need to show up. So happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Remember to be kind to yourself and to others. I'll see you tomorrow for another great interview. Talk soon.